I don't think this is as emotional as we're making it out to be. You know, take away the hysteria for a moment. First off, Trump doesn't need
Who's
AP
being
to
hysterical?
Both of you. Trump doesn't need, first of all, AP
You
to
obviously
take
don't know what a
photographs.
hysterical and a Navarro is
I
like.
just believe it comes down to
Andrew here with the Veil of Power, the Associated Press, the largest news organization in the world, got banned from the White House and the Oval Office. The reason the AP refused to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America after Trump's executive order, and watch what Emily Austin argues to defend it. Being in that room is a privilege, not a right, so reporters should comply. But Ana Navarro fires back with a line that says it all. It is also a privilege for Trump and his press secretary to be there because they are employees of the American people. Then Emily calls Ana hysterical twice and gets shut down for it. So let's get into it.
For an administration that claims to champion free speech, it is certainly a fan of silencing people. For the second straight day, the Associated Press is the largest news organization in the world, and it now has been banned from the White House and from the Oval Office over the AP's refusal to adopt Trump's preferred name for the Gulf of Mexico.
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is.
Says the person who talked about $50 billion worth of condoms in Gaza, but that is neither here nor there. Brian Stelter is with us, also with us, Emily Austin. Look, this is putting aside her points about lies being told in the briefing room.
Right.
There's some really interesting questions happening here about whether the White House can compel news organizations to talk about things in a particular way.
This is a power play, plain and simple. The president wants people to obey. He wants people to use the words he chooses. He wants people to fall in line. And if they don't, they lose their access. They're not allowed to be in the company of the president. Notably, in the last 2 days, when the AP reporters have been blocked, in one case, I'm told physically blocked from entering the Oval Office, the photographer was still allowed in, the AP photographer, right? Because the president still wants his photo taken.
Pictures, just
he wants
not
the
the
pictures,
words.
but not the words. This is a First Amendment violation, and I expect in the next few days, the AP will file suit. And they have a very strong case in court. This is yet another example where the courts will be the recourse for presidential action.
Brian, what are the other media outlets doing?
Right now,
Yeah.
they're still showing up, they're still asking questions, but that's right. The Correspondents Association has condemned this and called it unacceptable. I think you're suggesting maybe reporters should, skip the briefing?
Should band together because, I mean, listen, if the bully manages to bully one, he's not going to stop at one.
I don't think this is as emotional as we're making it out to be. You know, take away the hysteria for a moment.
Because, I mean, listen, if the bully manages to bully one, he's not going to stop at one.
I don't think this is as emotional as we're making it out to be. You know, take away the hysteria for a moment. First off, Trump doesn't need
Who's
AP
being
to
hysterical?
Both of you. Trump doesn't need, first of all, AP
You
to
obviously
take
don't
his
know what a
photographs.
hysterical and a Navarro is
I
like.
just believe it comes down to compliance.
That's true,
Trump put out an executive order. There was an executive order. He changed the name legally to Gulf of America. They're United States-based. I know they're international as well, but right now they're covering U.S. politics. So if he makes an executive order, they should respect that. And if they don't, being there is not a right, it's a privilege.
I'm going to add in here, though, that this has been called the Gulf of Mexico for 400 years.
Right.
So just because Trump claims that we need to...
States.
Okay, but doesn't this feel like a really weird, like, wokeism thing on the right? Like, it feels like the right's version of, like, Latinx or, like, birthing person. It just feels like a really weird hill to die on.
Nobody, by the way, just to be clear, nobody had to
cover
comply with any of that.
Yeah, if the Biden
administration
did that,
and if they did,
people
I
would be
think
up in arms.
Heads would be exploding at this table.
Maybe
If someone said to you, you've got to refer to people as
they should
birthing
adopt
people.
the Prince method. Just have a little symbol called the Gulf, formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico, which should now be called whatever the hell.
There's a much broader...
The Gulf of whatever the hell he wants.
There's a much broader... the Gulf of America. Tomorrow, what is it? The president says there's only 2 genders in this world. We all know transgender people. What happens when the AP reports on transgender Americans? What happens when CNN or ABC or the New York Times?
Okay,
Are those the next
what if
outlets to
I
be
believe
punished?
that there's 2 genders and then Biden tells me that there's 73? I don't comply with that.
Yeah, but
the Biden administration
isn't
isn't barring Fox News from covering press
Right,
conferences.
he's not going to ban you from
And Trump
coming into
hasn't
the
done
White
that
House
yet.
because
This
you
is
have a
what I mean
different
about
belief.
But
Well, for the last 2 days, though, the AP has been blocked from attending events that it's
They will not
attended for
comply with the
decades.
executive order.
No, I really would,
you
would
want the
rather you
president to do that?
not refer to me
To ban AP?
as hysterical for expressing an opinion. I think that's incredibly disrespectful. I don't do it to you.
Why do you think the AP won't just call it the Gulf of America?
Essentially, they are saying that the Trump's order only carries authority within the United States. Mexico, as well as other countries and international bodies, do not have to recognize that name change. The Gulf of Mexico has carried that name for 400 years, as was said at the table, and the Associated Press is going to refer to it by its original name while acknowledging that Trump has a new name that he would like to call it. They are an international organization. No one except Trump with a pen has said that it's the Gulf of America. It's a body of water that also has borders with another country. And it's been named that for 400 years.
I know, but we have a lawful process in this country for changing the name of it. The president went through it with the Secretary of the Interior, by the way. I mean, it
And
feels
it's also
a little
different. Can I
feels
just answer your Denali question? The Denali thing is actually different because that's a place that's in the United States proper. It exists in
But we changed the name
this
of it. The
country.
point is we changed the name
we
of it.
have the ability
It
to
does
change
happen.
the name. It's
And
Mount
so-
McKinley. It's Mount McKinley.
But we also have the ability to change this body of water. I think, look, this smacks to me of a news organization looking for a way to pick a fight with Donald Trump over something that they don't need to pick a fight over.
Exactly.
A. B.
It's petty.
B. He is the president,
wait,
and there is
wait.
a lawful process that he did follow to do it.
The news
and so
organization
why
did
won't they
not
just
pick a fight
respect
with Donald
that?
Trump over this. Donald Trump picked a fight with
No,
the news
no,
organization.
they're not calling
over
it by the name.
No,
That's the
the
fight.
news organization can do whatever they want. If they want to call it the Gulf of South America, they can call it
But
that.
why would I
Donald
respect a
Trump
news
doesn't-
organization that
Yeah,
doesn't deal in reality?
but
You don't have
false
to.
information if to not
Scott,
call it what
they
it
can
is.
call it whatever they want because there's free speech in this country. Wouldn't
Sure.
you agree?
Yes, but that, in my opinion, if you're not willing to call something by the proper name based on the laws of the United States, that calls into question your judgment. And are you a
There are
news
no-
organization
by the way,
or are you?
there are in play here. It's an executive order,
but-
and the body of water is not
Okay.
named by the United States. It's named
Sure
by
it is.
global organizations that name global landmarks.
Would it
That's
be-
not.
I mean,
It's not. There's a
So
law.
you don't respect Donald Trump's executive order or the Secretary of the Interior's process on this either. then?
Donald Trump had an executive order, but the Associated Press is not bound by it.
Scott,
That's
what if
the bottom line.
the
Well,
Biden
that's their
administration
choice.
did
I like
this,
the-
though, similarly? What if the Biden administration was barring, say, a Fox News because they weren't going along with an executive order where Biden said you must refer to every single transgender person as they,
Listen,
them, or whatever
I
it
think
was?
I think if you
would
want to
you
engage in a-
would you be supportive of that then?
Yeah,
I think
no,
that
no,
it gets really dangerous when we start forcing terminology on people. I didn't like it when the left did it with things like Latinx, birthing person,
Okay,
you
these
name
things
it.
are not in any way, shape, or form
no, they're
related.
they're remotely
the Biden
similar.
administration treated the press as poorly as any president has ever treated them, gave them less access, answered no questions, no transparency at any given time. Donald Trump's answered more questions in 3 weeks than Joe Biden answered in 4 years. Elon Musk answered
That's not
more
true,
than
and also a lot of the answers
Come
are
on, Brian.
true and not
This
true.
this administration is giving the most
It is
access to the
also-
press they could possibly
just
want.
to be clear, it's also changing the subject, and we're not changing the
But
subject.
you're asking about transparency.
No, we are.
Can the news be covered?
Actually,
And
we're
yes,
talking
it's being
about
covered.
the First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Is he being
The
covered?
AP will win in
That's what we're
court.
talking
Look, the
about.
AP is going to win in
okay.
court. If they go to court, the AP will win, just as CNN won in 2018 when a press credential was revoked. We're going to see the courts speak out on behalf of the First Amendment here.
I'm with Scott here that if he changes the name to the Gulf of America, whether they like it or not, them not calling it that, they are based out of the U.S. I get that they're an international organization. It's simply they're not reporting on the truth. So now if you're the president, you can
The truth-
argue they're not
But
reporting
Emily,
the truth.
wouldn't
so
you
why are they
agree that
qualified
the
to be
truth
here?
is also that the rest of the world calls it the Gulf of
So
Mexico?
technically, every other country
you
could
ag-
change the name
wouldn't
of it
you ag-
too in their own country. Then the journalists should comply with whatever their
Okay,
country
but
wants
Emily,
to call
wouldn't
it.
you agree that the truth is also that every other country in the world calls it the Gulf of Mexico?
That's fine, but Donald Trump put an
So,
executive order to
which
change
truth
it. So
do you care about? The
I care about
one-
the American truth.
Okay,
So
okay.
the
So let's
American
just be
truth
clear
is that
about
Trump
it.
changed
You
the
only
name.
care
So
about the
US
version of
journalists-
truth that Donald
this-
Trump
I believe
says is
com-
This feels like a really
US
weird hill to die
journalists-
on and something to get quite hysterical
It's-
over.
They're going after NPR and PBS. They're going after NBC, Universal, and Comcast over their corporate practices around DEI. What authority do they have to
The
do
FCC has never done this under Republicans or Democrats before. The current FCC chair appointed by Trump wants to be different, wants to do things differently. That's what he's doing. But this all smacks of an attempt to pressure every major media company in the U.S. except for Fox News. In terms of license
By the way,
holders,
until
all the others are under pressure
maybe
right
2
now.
or 3 weeks ago, also had DEI practices as part of their
Yes, it did.
corporate governance.
Yes, it did. We
Because
talked
they're
about-
a private corporation.
And it can do what it wants.
And it can do what it wants, except maybe not. I mean, are we okay with the government telling corporations how they can govern themselves?
There's nothing less conservative than that, and less of a Republican value than that. I mean, Republicans used to be for small government and for the private sector governing themselves, and we are for less regulation, supposedly. And so I see it so opposed to all of the things that we grew up believing.
So you're saying we should do away with the FCC?
No, I'm not saying we should do away with the FCC.
Is that the conservative view?
I'm saying that no government agency
Anna, I'm
should
going
be
to stop
telling.
this conversation right there because I think it's so.
I mean, we're in
it
the
is
mood right now. I'm just
Scott,
telling
it's
you.
in such bad faith for you to take what she just said
Well, I'm
and then say you want to get rid of the FCC.
No, she said we
That's
should
not-
have less regulations.
That's
This
not
is a
at all-
regulatory
but that's
agency. What
not-
are they supposed to do?
That's not at all what she said.
She said they shouldn't- she said they shouldn't be so active.
What's your answer to her question about whether the FCC should
don't know.
be
I truthfully
dabbling in
don't know.
Comcast and NBC Universal and saying, this is how you need to run your corporation?
Well, I mean, I think these public broadcasters, I mean, they do have these licenses because it's the public airwaves, and that's the reason the regulatory agency exists. So, you know, that's the way it's always worked. I truthfully don't know what the right answer here is. This is a more muscular look at these. Trump, obviously, and his people feel that some of these people have run amok with their with the privilege of having these licenses. So I don't know what the answer is.
Let's start with the word that did the most work on that panel. Twice, Emily Austin called Ana Navarro hysterical. Take away the hysteria for a moment, she said, and Navarro shut it down. I would rather you not refer to me as hysterical for expressing an opinion that is not a small moment. Hysterical is one of the oldest tools there is for dismissing a woman's argument without engaging it. You do not answer the point. You paint the person making it as too emotional to take. Seriously, Navarro caught it and refused it. Now the substance, the Associated Press, the largest news organization on earth, got physically blocked from the Oval Office because it would not rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And here is a detail that exposes the whole thing. When the reporters were blocked, the photographer was still allowed in. Trump wanted the pictures, but not the words. The coverage he likes, and none of the language he cannot control. This was never about a name. It was about obedience. Emily Austin's defense was that being in that room is a privilege, not a right, so the press should comply. And Ana Navarro delivered the line that flips the frame. It is also a privilege for Trump and the press secretary to be there. Because they are employees of the American people, these officials work for us. The press is there on our behalf. When you argue reporters must use the government's preferred words or lose access, you have inverted the relationship. So you have turned public servants into rulers and the free press into supplicants. Then watch the double standard exposed in real time. Jennings got asked the obvious question, what if the Biden administration barred Fox News for refusing Biden's preferred terminology? And Jennings actually said, it gets really dangerous when we start forcing terminology on people that he did not like it when the left pushed terms like Latinx, which is the entire point. He sees the danger clearly when he imagines the other side doing it. He just cannot apply the same standard to his own side. That is not a principle. A principle works the same no matter whose hand is on the lever. And here is the AP's actual position, buried under the noise. Trump's order carries authority inside the United States. It does not bind Mexico, international bodies, or the rest of the world, all of whom still call it the Gulf of Mexico. as they have for 400 years. The AP is a global organization reporting to a global audience, so it made the reasonable call, acknowledge the name Trump prefers, and keep using the one the entire planet recognizes. And for that, the largest news agency in the world got thrown out of the people's house. Now zoom out, because the Gulf is the small version of a bigger pattern, and that same FCC is going after NPR and PBS, pressuring NBC, Universal, and Comcast over their corporate practices. And here is the part that should bother conservatives. Most of Navarro said Republicans used to stand for small government and less regulation. Now the government is telling private corporations how to run their own affairs. That is the opposite of everything that movement claimed to believe. And when she raised it, the response was to twist her words into wanting to abolish the FCC, which is not what she said. Another deflection. Here's the thread tying it all together. Whether it is a Gulf, a network license, or a corporate DEI policy, the through line is a government demanding private institutions bend to its language and practices or face punishment. Brian Stelter is right that the AP has a strong First Amendment case and will likely win, just as CNN won when its credential was pulled in 2018. But the lawsuit is not the point. The point is they tried it all over something this petty and had defenders ready to call you hysterical for noticing. If this broke it down for you, drop a comment and subscribe. Andrew out. Let's go.